Derek.
I am here.
Good afternoon, Derek. How you doing?
I'm quite well. Yourself?
I'm good. Another good day. Another good day. Who we have on board thus far? Who we have on board thus far? We have.
It looks like currently we have Miss Modest McCorvey. Brian, forgive me. I don't if I pronounce your last name incorrectly. If you'll do it for the one time, tell me.
Siefstein. Brian Siefstein.
Thank you. Linda Scott, Jill Lewis Daggs, and then we've also got Joseph Maceo George and Dolores McFarland, Vice President Sandra McCrary, and looks like Jordan Pride.
Right.
And welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. We are glad to have you.
We'll give everyone a few minutes before we start, another 3 or 4 minutes before we start. And we're going to log in a little late, so we'll give them a chance to do that. Accommodate those individuals, if there be any. Ms. McFarland, are you there? Is it D McFarland? Are you there?
Yes, D? I'm here. Please call me D.
Okay, D. When's the election for the state officers? That's in June the what? The state meeting?
June the 5th.
Okay. That's virtual?
It will be virtual. And since Jill is an elected officer of the DBCF, maybe she can tell us if they've set a time yet for June the 5th.
Jill? Hello, Jill. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Same here. Same. Another good day.
Yes, God bless you. Good day. Thank you so much. At this time, we have not set a time. It will be early for those of us in the Panhandle, because I believe we're going to need to give this is my thought process, I'm not the one setting it up, but about 2 hours to make sure that everybody that wants to get on, we have about 750 plus members that could get on. It's virtual. We don't expect 750 to get on. We'd love for 750 to get on. We've expanded so that we can have 1,000. But we still need to vet everyone. So I'm thinking for the Panhandle, it might be that we could be looking as early as maybe 7, 8 o'clock, but you could just get on and then just come back to your computers at the time that it starts. But just be prepared.
7 in the morning?
I'm not saying that, but remember 7 is 8 their time, and then 2 hours later is 10 their time, so that we're not on all day long. You don't have to get on at 7. There just will be a cutoff. Like there normally is if we do the election in person, you have from 9 a.m. to 1 to register. Everybody will be registered. It's just making sure we vet everybody. So, and the election is from the floor, so all candidates will be nominated from the floor.
Really? From the floor? Is that different than past years?
Yes, because of the delay in setting all of this up, at no fault of the candidates that are on here, all of them, we had to go that way. And because when the nominating committee came back with their suggestion, we voted it down. So therefore that opened the floor for everybody to be nominated from the floor for each position, starting with president.
I know we have Dee on the line on the Zoom for her comments about her office. Anyone else on the line besides Dee? Another candidate on the line?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Escambia. My name's Trevor Mallory. I'm the immediate past president here in Pinellas County, down in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I am running to be the next president of the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. Thank you guys for having me today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Trevor.
Also, you have Joseph Maceo George here. I'm a candidate for second vice president, former president of Duval County. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Pride. I'm the current and re-elected president of Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus, and I am currently running for first vice president for the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. Thank you so much for having us this evening.
Then I guess I'll go last. I'm Jill Lewis Daggs, and I am the immediate past president for Okaloosa County, your sister chapter, and I am running for treasurer. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It is now 6:08. We're at the 6:10 to start the meeting. We have about 2 minutes. Okay, then we'll get started.
Linda is our treasurer on the line via telephone with you, perhaps.
Sorry, Sandra, you talking to me?
I'm talking to Linda Scott to see if our treasurer is on the line.
Betty?
Via telephone, yeah.
Is not.
She is. She's not. I'll call and see if I can get her.
Thank you.
Who's that masked man? It's Derek. That was so Derek. We're going to change our agenda format. If once we start the meeting, the people want to speak for running for office. If the body doesn't object, we'll let those guys go first after we open up. After the pledge and the prayer, then we'll let those guys start their presentations. If no one have any problem with that, so we have 4 or 5 to have come to meet with us. We don't want to make them wait. Put them first, if you will. This is 7 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, 6 up here, so we're in the Central. Let them call Betty first. Can she get Betty? Then we'll get started.
I was unable to get Barbara Petty.
Sorry, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara Petty. Okay, thank you, Linda. We'll open the meeting at 6:11 to 6:10. We do a pledge at the meeting in unison, if you will. We can start that. Everyone ready? Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands.
One nation.
One nation.
Under God.
Under God.
Indivisible. Justice
for all.
Thank you. Thank you. We say a prayer. We have Ms. McCrary as our, at this point, resident prayerist. You want to continue that role, Sandra, for this evening, and give us a prayer, Ms. McCrary, please?
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to. If we could all just bow our heads as we go to the throne of grace. Dear Heavenly Father, we come this evening with thanksgiving in our hearts. You, the present God, the omnipotent God, you are all to us. We thank you right now for allowing us the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus, doing the work of our mission to make voting rights and everything available to those who are of like mind. We thank you right now for our president and for all of the officers and the members of the Black Caucus. We ask you to continue to give us guidance as we move forward during this year. We ask you now to bless those that are on the call, bless those who are on their way. And Father God, we ask you to forgive us all for our sins. In Jesus' name we pray, and for his sake, amen.
Amen. We go to the, thank you, Sandra. Approval of the agenda. We're going to amend the agenda to allow the candidates to rise to the, after the roll call. Get a motion to amend the agenda to allow the speakers to speak after the roll call. Get a motion for that.
So move.
Get a second.
Second that motion. This is Sandra.
Okay. Move the second that we amend the agenda to allow the individual running for office to come on after the roll call, and then after the roll call. Question? Those who are ready say aye for the meeting, for the motion. Aye. Those opposed? Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. We'll do a roll call, then we'll start with the candidates. Sandra, Derek, you want to do the roll call since you have the Zoom meeting host? Now, who's here for us, Derek, membership wise, if you would, please.
I'll start with our home members first. We have yourself, President Gant, First Vice President Sandra McCrary, followed by myself, Derek. Then moving on, we have our membership including Ms. Modest McCorvey, Linda Scott, Bill Ayer, and that concludes everybody from a membership standpoint. Special guests for Escambia, we have Brian Siefstein here with us. And as we move on to the elected officials, again, we are moving on the screen that I have, Mr. Trevor Mallory, Mrs. Dolores McFarland, Mr. Joseph Maceo George, Jill Lewis Daggs, and last but not least, Jordan Pride.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Into the minutes of the candidates giving their presentation. We indicated earlier we're going to do a 3-minute time allowed to give your presentation about what you want to share with us as for running for office, and a 2-minute Q&A. Becomes that we need a little more time to expand the time for the Q&A to take in the members' questions, to you respond to the questions. We should do that. We're going to try to keep to our time level as best we can. I'm going to start with the president roles first. We'll start with, we have Trevor and Dee running for president. Is that correct? And we'll start with Dee. Dee, if you would please rest us with your ideas and thoughts as to you becoming our next president.
Certainly. Hello, everyone. My name is Dolores McFarland, but please call me Dee, and I'm a candidate running for DBCF president. I have an extensive background in managing people, projects, and budgets, and I am passionate about working on your behalf as your next DBCF president. In the Red County of Sarasota, where I was just recently reelected as president of the Black Caucus, I have also served as vice president of the Sarasota Democratic Club, where I chaired an annual Democratic Care initiative where we raised thousands of dollars for nonprofits that serve the Black community. I've also served as a DEC secretary and DEC at-large vice chair. I'm a member of other local and national political and social organizations, but my focus is on the Black Caucus. My platform is, number one, increasing the level of professionalism and respect at the FDP level. Number 2, more involvement with state congressional Black Caucus. Number 3, approving the updated bylaws and the policy and procedure manual. 4, re-energizing and staffing up our existing standing committees. 5, increasing our membership statewide. 6, create onboarding training for new chapters. 7, a statewide voter education and voter registration program, 365 days a year. Number 8, more communications with all members of the Black Caucus. And that pretty much sums up what my platform is. And I thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mr. President, for inviting me tonight. And that's it. That's all I have.
You are so welcome, Dee. Any questions from the members? I have one question. I'll start. Dee, last session for legislature, which they've been called back now for the gambling issue. I think we just passed, I believe. You know, I was somewhat, it would be nice to have the Black Caucus send out bullets or communiques indicating what bills are coming up, the ones that affect African Americans, the ones we should be alerted to get out the word, to support or object to. I think the Women Caucus does that in the fairly well. So alerts to the membership during the session. They're be on the lookout for those bills that's going to harm African Americans in our communities. Do you have any ideas to increase our involvement in that type of activity?
Well, thank you for the question. I concur with you wholeheartedly that the Black Caucus needs to step up and step out and speak out on behalf of the Black community and Black voters in the entire state. There are so many issues, President Gant, that we need to address at this time. One of the things that we've done recently, however, is to speak out on the upcoming Rules Committee vote at the FDP level. And our position statement and a press release went out today, I believe. You should have gotten a copy of it, where we talk about fully supporting to maintain the current structure of, I'm having a blank here. Just maintain the current voting structure, the weighted vote. There's a lot of opposition to that, but we are upholding our position to do that. But I agree, we need to have, as other clubs and caucuses do, a statement that comes out after sign date that gives us an update on all the bills that were passed in the recent legislative session. I have attended several meetings of local clubs and caucuses, and also our DEC meeting, where they gave a very comprehensive list of all the bills that were passed. I'd be happy to send that copy to you if your DEC is not providing that to you. We also had our Florida State District 70, Michelle Rayner Goldsby, to come and speak with us in a joint meeting that the Black Caucus had with the Sarasota Democratic Club. And she gave a very comprehensive report as well.
Thank you. We do want that list. Please send the list to us so we can use it. I'm also talking about why the session is ongoing, the bills, why they're being debated by the legislature. You know, the upcoming bills during the session that we need to be alerted to, so we can write our representatives and our senators to object or support those bills. Some of that preemptive type of involvement.
I agree. I'll send that to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Trevor. I'm sorry, any more questions for Dee McFarland?
Yes, I do have one. Thank you for coming to speak with us. This is Derek Scott. I have a question. You did touch on it briefly, the weighted vote proposal that is going to be taking place this weekend. For those who may not be as familiar with it, can you share why it is? And this question will be asked also with our other candidate, why it is the Black Caucus of Florida is not supporting the current, and why you feel it's best to stay where we are?
It is indeed a very complex issue. And it is one that we have had lots of conversations and meetings about at the executive committee level. My small red county of Sarasota, my two committee people are voting against the weighted vote. And we have listened to Grace Carrington, who is a state committee woman in her county, and she has compelled us to write a statement maintaining the weighted vote, although there are a lot of people in opposition to it. What it does is it actually waters down Black representation in those larger counties that have larger Black populations. Some of the smaller counties are opposed to it because they would like more seats at the table. And as well, the smaller counties like mine and like maybe Jill's are opposed to it for a variety of reasons as well, because they think they want more representation. As it stands now, I fully support the DBCF position that we maintain the weighted vote and that we not water down the representation that we currently have in some of the larger counties where Black people are represented equally. In certain instances, it would add so many more people to have voting rights that, again, although the FDP has put out some language saying that they would assure equality and equity and all that, I don't believe them, to be honest with you, that it would maintain an equal stance for Black voters. So that's my position. You should have gotten the statement today, President Gant, and if you could send that out to your membership so that they could have a greater understanding of what the DBCF position is. I'm told that we may very well lose the position and that they may very well change the situation or change the voting structure.
I will send it out after the meeting. Thank you for the
thank you for
explaining
that.
how that works. Derek? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. What is the impetus behind changing the other than the smaller counties getting more representation? So it's targeted enhancing their representation, or targeted at decreasing the larger cities and the minority representation? What is the initial focus of this change, Dee?
Well, I am going to respond to you and try to be as politically correct as I possibly can be.
Okay.
If I can. It is, the progressives are for the weighted vote for a totally different agenda and totally different reasons than the Black Caucus. But from our perspective, it's what I said. It's like we want to maintain that presence and that weighted vote in those larger counties where we now have a stronger Black representation with state committee men and state committee women. And I would think that the FDP, like my two white state committee people in Sarasota, are adamantly against the weighted vote. And this is a red county. We're only 4.7% of the population in Sarasota County. And I can understand their perspective. I'm not going to argue with them or try to persuade them. I understand what their position is, but our position holds true that we really think that this is for the good of the Black community and for Black voters. Why are they doing it? Because more people want more seats at the table. I think that's the bottom line. I'm sure some of the other candidates can give you their opinions on it as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more questions for Dee? If not, we'll move to Trevor. Trevor, you're on, Trevor.
Okay. Thank you, President Gant, for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you guys out here in Escambia. I see a couple familiar faces that I had the opportunity to speak with last couple weeks ago in Okaloosa. My name's Trevor Mallory, and I am running to be the president of the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. I am the immediate outgoing president, where I serve my 2 terms here in Pinellas County. We are a blue county, thankfully. I am also the immediate outgoing outreach chair for our Pinellas County DEC here, where I was the liaison between the African-American community and our local DEC chapters and clubs, and also any candidates seeking to run for office in our county and also statewide. And I say statewide because I would like to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, one of your very own, Mr. Air, who we're definitely going to put support behind to help get Matt Gaetz out of you guys' way up in the Panhandle. I think he definitely needs to go. He should not be there. And I had the opportunity to sit with the chair of our local DEC here and your own Mr. Phil Air there, so we can have a nice discussion on putting a plan together to assist him in making the move when it's time to make that move. I like to think that me being the outreach chair of the local DEC, I've gained and I've earned a lot of respect from a lot of the statewide candidates and local candidates. And I've also accomplished to create a lot of connections. With him doing his tour of Florida, I was fortunate enough to be reached out to. So that made me feel real good to know that I'm someone important in Pinellas County, that he felt like him and his team felt it was worthy of me having a discussion. Now, one of the things I really want to do is improve the relationship with the Legislative Black Caucus and also the Congressional Black Caucus. And that way we can strengthen our ability to impact policy change. We can't do that if we call ourselves the state of Florida Black Caucus. We can't effect really policy change if we don't have the respect or the relationship with our Legislative Black Caucus and our Congressional Black Caucus. And the last thing I want to say is being a former professional baseball player, I was drafted out of high school by the Toronto Blue Jays. So I started my professional baseball career early. What that did was it taught me the importance of hard work and dedication and teamwork. So that's why right now we do have a team that we're trying to put together to make sure that this state caucus runs as smoothly as it is. And I think I have the ability and the experience to do that. I'm also in affordable housing. I've been appointed by the mayor of St. Petersburg to 4 different affordable housing committees here in our city. And that's just a passion of mine. I take affordable housing very seriously. And that's one thing I think we need to champion and take a hold of statewide, because not only is it a problem in my county, but I'm pretty sure it's a problem all around the world. And the last thing I would like to say is I want to ensure that qualified Black people, since we do represent 1.5 million African Americans throughout the state of Florida, I need to make sure that we are represented and on any political stage, any boards, committees, and that we are hired within our own communities when it's election time. I don't think it's fair that we get outsiders that aren't from our communities that get the jobs to try to make things happen within our communities. So thank you all for having me. I have plenty more to offer. I just don't want to take up too much time, and I'm willing to answer any questions you guys may have for me.
Thank you, Trevor. Any questions for Trevor? I have one question, Trevor. You lastly mentioned about hiring during the election processes, election season, Blacks in all communities. I concur with that wholeheartedly. As we know, the party usually make that decision, or either the state or the national party, or even the county make the decision in conjunction with the party. Sometimes it's hard to break through the red tape, if you will, to gain access to influence those decision-making processes. Do you have any ideas how we can affect that change to have more Blacks in our own community to get paid during the election campaign season? If you do, please share.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for that question. Number one, what it starts with is getting a sit down with with the chair of the party, Mr. Manny Diaz. Number one, we have to also get with him so we can dictate our respect in our communities and for our votes. There are plenty of qualified African Americans right here in our own communities that can do the job just as well as any paid representative they may want to send that's not from our community. So one thing I would also like to do as president is to seek out these qualified, not only candidates, but also community activists and who who are educated and up on everything that's going on in our community and what we need to be tackling when these political races begin. Nobody knows our communities better than we do. And we all know that the African-American woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party when it comes to voter base. And I'm going to say this to be brutally honest. White America, we don't have to worry about them going to the voting polls because they actually show up. And one thing I would also do as president is there's two ways to success, in my opinion. Number one is transparency. And number two is diversity. We can't think just because we represent 1.5 African Americans that we don't need other races to help us get to where we need to go. That's just transparency and diversity has to be involved. So it's going to start with us just getting our respect, man. And that's going to start with getting that relationship with the Legislative Black Caucus and the Congressional Black Caucus, because right now they carry more weight than we do. But if we can team up with them, our voices, we will be a hell of a lot stronger with all of us working in unity.
Thank you. Any other questions for Trevor?
Yes.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Is that Phil?
Yes, and I'm only asking because my name was invoked a couple of times, so thank you. And I just want to say thank you for Dee McFarland for showing up too, as well as Trevor. I think you're both amazing candidates, and I'm delighted that you're both stepping forward. So let me ask a loaded question that I did not speak with Trevor when I met him down in the Southwest, and that is, do you expect the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida to endorse any candidate in the special election for Alcee Hastings seat before the primary is run?
Is that for Trevor?
You unmute.
You're on mute.
I got you.
Okay, sorry about that. That's really not a loaded question, Mr. Air. We do have bylaws and policies and procedures that we do go by. So number one, we will wait to see who are all the candidates that get in, because part of our bylaws, if there's more than one African-American in the race, we tend to just stay neutral until after the primary. So it's just going to be very exciting to see which candidates will get in that race. And I'm pretty sure we'll definitely put our heads together, not only in our executive committee, but throughout each chapter throughout the state of Florida to make sure we pick the most qualified candidate for that seat. And thank you for that question.
Thank you, Trevor. Derek, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mallory, for being with us this evening. I just have the same question that I asked of our prior candidate. I don't know if you recall. I'm happy to restate if necessary, regarding the weighted average vote, and
okay,
still continue to support, and why or why not? Do you think it's a good idea?
And like candidate McFarland said, we as a group, we did have a discussion, and we all did vote unanimously to put out our stance on where we stand on it. And my outlook on it is that I think it needs to stay where it's at. I think it does need to be a no vote, because I'm going to say it like this. In Pinellas County here, we have about 92 votes between our two state committee women and committee men. So if we're going to split that vote up to one vote, one person, one vote, and if they divvy it up that way, and let's just say, and again, we are a blue county here in Pinellas, but in our local DEC, we may have 400 members. And to be honest with you, out of that 400 members, there may be 10 of us that are African-American, right? So now we take a chance of losing so many votes just by not fulfilling the whole 92 that are available. If we don't fulfill those votes, then we lose those votes. So now instead of us getting the whole 92 votes, it puts us in a position to where it is actually watered down, and we lose opportunities that one person could have had the 46 and 46. It may just be not enough votes for us to actually put out when you're talking about African-American representation. Now, it's the weighted vote definitely needs to go. I just think there needs to be a drawn up different policy and procedure that goes with it. And I think they need to get more people at the table to come up with this policy before we make a change. I think it just needs to stay where it is now. I mean, it's been this way for a long time. I just think it's not something that needs to be rushed through. I think it needs to be thought out very carefully and strategically put together so that it just stays fair and it represents every race.
Thank you, Trevor. Derek, you got a response after the answer?
No, I just said thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And we've been aligned by Dee and Trevor in terms of what they want to bring to the table for the state chapter, the state organization. I'm thrilled that both came to visit with us today, and I enjoyed your comments, both individuals. And each just say good luck. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
You can remain on the line if you want to. You can take care of other business. It's your choice. Glad to have you.
You got me now to the duration. I'm stuck with you until your meeting's over. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Great. We'll go to VP. VP office next to Mr. Maceo. I think is here for the second VP position. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, President Fred.
It's been a long time, Maceo, since we started other, I think it was in Tampa some time ago, I think it was. Yeah.
I remember talking with you about some issues and really appreciate the conversation we had.
I agree. Thank you.
And that's what one of the qualities I want to bring to the table when I become second vice president. Okay. All right. Good evening, Black Caucus brothers and sisters. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to introduce myself to you. I'm Joseph Maceo George, and you can call me Maceo. Okay. I'm the former president of Duval County Democratic Black Caucus, former president of the National Association of Letter Carriers Brand 53, where I served as an arbitration advocate and legislative liaison for the NALC. I'm also a member of the AFL-CIO Central Labor Council, member of the NAACP, and a member of the Florida State Labor Caucus. I am currently serving as a member of the State Black Caucus Bylaws Committee and chair of the State Policy and Procedure Committee, and a proud veteran of the United States Navy. As you can see, I don't sit down, I stand because I love representing people, and especially the Black community. I am seeking the position of second vice president for the State Black Caucus. When elected, it would be an honor and a pleasure to represent the Black community of Florida. In the state of Florida, we have 67 counties, only to have 25 Black Caucus chapters. As one of the duties of the second vice president, it would be my goal to increase our membership and to have a chapter in every county. Recently, we lost 5 chapters. Once elected, I will reach out to those chapters in an effort to bring them back on board. In numbers, we will have a strong voice and representation in the Black community of Florida. In several weeks, we will be voting on bylaws and policies of this caucus. One of the many proposals I submitted deals with the state website. As you probably know, when you go to that website, it is dormant. It is not utilizing the ability that we could have for this caucus. I created a social media policy. This policy will revitalize the website, create a social media committee, educate the voters and members of Florida on important issues. Also a link for those chapters that do not have a website to share their information. And most important, a link for those counties to fill out an application requesting to become a chapter. Although we cannot get to these cities and many cities in Florida, this link will give them the opportunity to reach out to the Black Caucus to become a chapter. Also, one of the duties of the second vice president is to serve in the absence of the president and the first vice president. As president of the National Associated Letter Carrier for 10 years, I have chaired meetings as president of the NALC and well-versed in Robert Rules of Order. So in addition to recruiting members and chapters of this organization, I bring other qualities for this caucus. As I mentioned earlier, I am an arbitration advocate. And one of my other proposals I'm presenting, and you will probably read, is the grievance process. If you look at our bylaws, the grievance process needs a lot of work. So I came up with some language to better represent our members at step one, to make sure they get the right to due process. So the knowledge that I have acquired as a president and an arbitrator, I have revived our grievance process, and you will have a copy of that. So in closing, I ask that you please vote for Joseph Maceo George on June the 5th as second vice president. And again, thanks for allowing me to be here tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome, Maceo. Glad to have you, man. George, your comments. Any questions for Maceo? Again, thank you for coming, Maceo. Any other second VP candidates on the? I don't think we do we? With us tonight, Derek. Maceo's the only one running for the office. We'll move to the next office.
We have a few people who joined us a little late as we were talking, and I wanted to recognize. I'm not sure if it's a candidate or at the last person I saw that come in was Miss Annie. Is it Gummerin, is that correct? Thank you, welcome. Are you also running as well, or are you just visiting with us today?
I can't hear.
I'm running.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
Hi, yes, I'm running for the position of secretary for the state DBCF.
Okay, welcome. And your name, I'm sorry, I didn't quite get your name. Your name, the first, your name?
Annie Gummerin.
Thank you. Okay, Annie. You may proceed, please, if you will. We're going to go to you came just in time, man. Just in time. We at your spot now for the secretary. Just in time. You want to share? Someone say something?
Hi.
Just a point of order. I'm not sure if I don't recall what position Jordan was running for, if it was first vice president.
First vice. She's running for first vice.
I'm sorry. I apologize. George, Annie, can you wait for a second, please?
I sure can. I'm
sorry, Jordan. Jordan Pride, of course. I mean, you mentioned Tampa also, Jordan. Good to see you again. You want to share with us, Jordan, your plan for if you elected office?
Yes, thank you so much, President Fred, and thank you so much to Escambia County for having us this evening. My name is Jordan Pride. I'm a Florida native, originally from Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm a graduate of the University of South Florida in Tampa, where I reside. And I'm the proud reelected president of Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus, where I was sworn in as the youngest president in my county's history, elected at the age of 24. However, something that I learned very early on is that your age does not dictate your impact. And I think my leadership in Hillsborough County and in my community has shown just that. I am running to be first vice president for the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida because I truly believe we have an opportunity in this upcoming midterm election, an opportunity to push the needle on so many issues we've been fighting for so many years by electing the right people. Currently, I believe what we're seeing is a period of self-reflection and consciousness in this country. George Floyd put a camera to the true America that we live in, and the reaction to his advertible death was overwhelming. Never in my entire life have I seen all nationalities, backgrounds, ages, denominations come together to resist this injustice that we know far too well. But let's be clear, as they should, Struggles for institutional transformation are rarely successful without the presence of allies, which is why our coalition as a caucus has to be so strong. Since the very start of our existence in this country, Black folks have pushed and even carried this country to be its very best, even when it did not benefit us or those that looked like us directly. However, the demand for true criminal justice reform, education reform, healthcare, housing couldn't be more apparent in this country than now. So we must strike while the iron is hot. Blacks in this state need a unified force to defeat DeSantis in this upcoming election. And that force, to me, is the Democratic Black Caucus. If duly elected, my chief responsibility is to carry out the duties and the responsibilities given to me by the president and oversee the Finance and Budget Committee. As a team, one of the key areas that we want to address is our digital presence. If this pandemic didn't show us anything else, it's shown us the power of technology and how important it is to maintain a digital presence as we move more and more into this digital age. Some of the changes that I would recommend and put forth as next first vice would be a revamp of our website to make it more user-friendly. Put the necessary amount of effort behind our social media activity and take advantage of the many digital resources of payment that we can use to gain membership, such as Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. Lastly, I'll be a fierce advocate in holding our state's party accountable for giving the resources and support necessary to get our people out to vote. These are the things that I have already done within my first tenure as president of Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus, and I look forward to being part of this charge with Team Us. Thank you. I believe you're on mute.
Thank you very much. We're now ready for the secretary. President Gant, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
I want to make sure there's no questions. Anyone have any questions?
Yes, give us a chance for questions first, first VP.
Okay.
I know it's getting late in the day. I realize the time is going quickly. Realize that. So we'll move it up as best we can. Okay. I have one question, Ms. Proud. Do you have any competition? Are you running anyone running against you for the first VP slot?
So I've heard of some folks jumping into the race, and still there's slates still coming out as far as folks that are running from the state executive committee. So as of right now, I think I'm your best choice.
Thank you very much. I remember you in Tampa, actually, very, very vividly.
Yeah,
sure did.
Yes. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I will say, just as a no question, but just as of the past year, looking at what you guys down in Hillsborough have been doing with respect to your programming, I've been in awe. I think you guys are a benchmark chapter, and so it's evident to see where you guys are getting it from. So
thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to the work that we're going to do together as a state. Thank you all.
Okay. We'll go to Ms. Annie, the Secretary candidate. Annie, if you will, please, time to share with us your plans for the state organization.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Annie Gummerman Sweeting. I'm a 61-year-old retiree from law enforcement. I was a correctional officer for Miami-Dade Corrections and Rehabilitation Department. I've served in the military as a personal record specialist and an administrative assistant. I've held several clerical positions throughout my career. I've created programs in TREE, educating notably talented and resourceful youth within the Overtown area here in Miami-Dade County. I am a member of the Miami-Dade DEC. I am also a member of the Miami-Dade Democratic Black Caucus. I was the past president there. I'm a past second VP, and I currently hold the position of secretary with the Miami-Dade Democratic Black Caucus. My goals, I'm not going to keep you long. I feel a little at home with Escambia because my father was from Pensacola.
Really?
Yes, and I had an uncle there. He was a architect, Leslie Gummerman, and his wife Violet. We have some family members there that I really haven't, I haven't met them since I was very, 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 very little. My uncle lived at 1111 West Gonzales Street, and I used to come up for the summers up there to Pensacola. My goals include to perform all the required duties of this position in an accurate and timely manner. I also I'm pushing to create a secretarial guild within the state. I will provide training for secretaries because the secretarial position is a position that is feared by a lot of people, and sometimes it's overlooked as not important, but we are. And I will be doing training for them, for those that may not exactly know how to do certain forms or whatever. I'm very good with form creation and with the computer. I will assist in improving communications between the state level and the local caucuses, which will assist in enhancing a networking system between the caucuses within the state. I am hoping to get your vote. I am a part of Team Us. Team Us is not a slate. We are us. Us represents our entire state. We stand to help the entire state. So I'm asking for your vote on June the 5th.
Thank you very much, Annie. Any questions for Annie? Okay.
I just applaud Annie for, this is Sandra McCurry, I applaud Annie for being the Secretary of the State. It is a position that is very difficult to fill, and we appreciate your efforts in doing so.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ditto, Sandra, to that comment. Did I get all the Karen's? My cohort Jill, our Northwest Florida stalwart. Jill, you want to come and share with us your plans, Jill?
Yes, thank you so much. Good to see all of you guys. And you know what? I feel at home because I am at home, but because everybody else is in the Eastern Standard Time and we're in the Central Standard Time. So just want to share that. Many of you know me, but I am the recent immediate past president of Okaloosa County Democratic Black Caucus, where we started with 25 members when I started, and we now have 82. So we are the largest caucus in the state of Florida for the second year in a row. And that is a lot due to the relationship that we have with all 5 counties here. So it's not just because Okaloosa, it's because we have Escambia, because we have Santa Rosa, Walton, and Okaloosa working together. So I say thank you for that. I'm also the outreach chair and regional 1 director for the Democratic Women's Club. I'm a member of the NAACP. I am the diversity and inclusion chair for the DEC. I am also the state committee woman, so I'd love to share that side. But what will I do as the treasurer? Many of you have seen my name as, and I always say acting treasurer, and that's mostly because I was thrown into it when somebody else stepped away. So we have tried to do the best we can with what we have. But with this new leadership, what we're looking to do is to make sure that when we're going over membership and how to become a member, that we do utilize the new website that they're all talking about, that we are able to have van access across the state, which each of you need so that you can verify those members. And then to do, many of you know I'm the program and logistics director for the state too. So if you've gone to one of our conferences, the hard work that I put in to make sure that not only do you have a good time and you have a nice place, but that it's affordable, that's what we're going to do. We're going to set budgets that take care of you, that we raise the money, and then the money is put into the caucuses, the local caucuses and candidates. And then for me, because I had COVID, I would say important to me is that we keep you safe. So know that as much as we still need to get together and we have work to do, that we're going to continue to keep our members, all of us, safe and still be strategically active and make a difference. So I will take any questions. I will ask for your vote. I wanted to make sure I was here so it didn't seem like just because I'm your sister caucus previous president that I'm taking you for granted, because I absolutely am not. I am here to serve. I like to work behind the scenes, and so I will just continue to work behind the scenes. And with this leadership, hopefully we'll have a true team that comes together. And Annie's absolutely right. Team Us is about all of us. So us as the leadership, and then you joining us so that we can be impactful and make the difference that we need to make. So I ask for your vote on June 5th, and I welcome any questions, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jill, so much for your comments. I appreciate those comments. Any questions for Jill? We all know Jill, what she's done over the years, so been a real worker and glue for the caucus in a lot of ways, and I appreciate it. Thank you for that, Jill. I really do. Real glue for us statewide. Any questions for Jill? Okay.
No one has any questions?
Oh, well, that's all. Any more that I'm missing in Candace? Derek Scott is our social media technology guy. He does a great job. If anyone have any ideas or questions about social media, you can always call Derek up here for those guys in other counties. Derek does a great job, real versed in aspects of what the virtuality of things that we do as we're doing now. So appreciate Derek for his efforts. Did I miss anyone, Derek?
Nope. It looks like we have covered everyone at this point.
Great. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. You're gonna it's 7 o'clock now. We can go to matters. The election results of the last meeting. And the minutes of the last meeting. First of all, we up here don't have a secretary yet. I'm advised by I think with Jill or Sandra, the fact that we need to have a secretary. I've been trying to determine, this is for the body, if you will, someone to step up and sort of allow themselves to act in that role. No one has done that chat. We just have to Derek for a minute about who he thinks, and we're really talked in length about a secretary that we can draft for our chapter. So Annie, you'll correct Annie and Sandra. It's a tough job. A lot of people don't want to tackle it because it seems a little detailed for some people. Vis-a-vis, we don't have one as of yet. The bylaws are going to give the president the opportunity to appoint one of the executive. It's the committee or the president that appoints the unelected officers. So I'm not quite sure. Jill, you still there?
Yes, the president you can appoint, and they can just affirm.
Okay. And seriously, if anyone has anyone that they know who's not a member, who wants to join for that purpose, which happens all the time, or any of our current members who are here today, please give me that name by Monday at the latest. And let me share also the fact that we don't have a full set of officers. We didn't get fully certified at this timetable. We're seeking to get fully certified in August with a full set of officers. At that time, Jill was sort of guiding me on that. I think Phil mentioned last time also, actually, a month ago. And also, for us getting the certified in discussion, we all got to do a loyalty oath. I'd like to get those to the officers one day next week. Let's get them in early to Jill or to the secretary to be there. And when we get our set of officers, we'll be one packet, of course, but let's get those in one place in Escambia County. We get our secretary, we can submit our packet early, and we're ready to be certified in August. Now, of course, we took an all vote in as a chapter. I mean, those who are wondering, we all can vote. We're members of the state organization. We all can vote in June 5th, so we're encouraged to do so. But in the terms of the certification process, the chapter, we're kind of outside the ball right now, and we'll get that resolved real soon. The secretary. I don't want to call anyone name in the Zoom meeting, but if anyone has anyone they're thinking about after the meeting, either text me or call me or email me the person's name, and I reach out to that person, and I will do that myself and talk with them about taking the role as a secretary or becoming a member to do the role. So let's not leave no stone unturned. As someone said, get into the Senate of the office, the governor's election coming up in next year is our main mission. We must change governors. We have to change governors. No doubt about it. Everything we do now is going to affect what happens in November 2022. We just can't overlook the fact that start early is paramount, and that we must succeed in the mission of replacing DeSantis with a Democratic governor, no matter who that person might be. And I want to drill home to members who knows this. I'm preaching to the choir now, but talk to your neighbors, your church members, your friends, your fraternities, sorority sisters, your co-workers, those who are inclined to listen to you. We need to change the governors. It starts now, and we're going to tell them why we need to change governors. I mean, we cannot let the Sanders get re-election. We cannot let that happen. We're talking about going back the other way, going back. He'll take us back. He'll take us back to make America great again, like Trump wants. And it sounds kind of frantic in my voice, and that is that I am frantic, because he will do that to the Black community in the state of Florida if he wins re-election. So let's be just passionate about that message when we get out to our friends and family. They'll understand that this thing is real, and they'll get fire under their feet to do something about it, vis-a-vis vote when the time comes. The treasury report is the same as last meeting. We hadn't spent any money, or we have not raised any more money since the memberships in back in February. Betty and Barbara's not here. So treasurer is not here for this meeting. We'll get with Barbara and get that done. And also, what I will want to talk about now is that we need to go to get the cards at the bank. I'm going to talk with the. I'm going to submit a report for the bank to change on the. Well, we need to on the signature card for the checking account. I'm going to do that by Monday. I'll send a copy to Derek and Sandra, and we will and Barbara, and that memorandum to the bank will indicate who the officers are who sign on the checking account, and I'll be the president and the treasurer and the first vice president. Those three individuals. It lists all the officers, but those are the ones to be signed on the account. We'll get there by Monday. Let's get that done. In the last couple of years, this pandemic, COVID-19 got us last year, and the term before, the other past officers just didn't show up to help us transition. If you may recall, we're gonna start on the right foot this year, okay? In those regards. Derek, you want to share something about the what you emailed us today about the right website for sharing information for the membership? But the right email address to use to share with us what's going on, because I used the wrong one. I used both actually, but yeah, one will do, the right one.
Just for everybody, if you are interested in sharing any information or have questions that either relate specifically to the executive board members or the body as whole, certainly we set up groups, Microsoft Outlook account, and you can email either the chapter ECDBC_@outlook.com, or if you want it to go to everybody, it will look the same except at groups.outlook.com. And I will put those in the chat. Please make sure you are using either one or both of those emails. Everything else should be considered null. We are also on, if you need to look for us, we are also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also have WhatsApp now, as well as, I just lost the last one. It'll come to me. But we are making our, spreading ourselves out. And thankfully, we have joined and partnered with the rest of the Panhandle with respect to the social media committee. So we have Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, Escambia, and that's also the DECs as well as the Black Caucuses. And you'll see quite a lot. If you haven't already seen our social media presence, it's kind of exploded within the past quarter, I would say, and it's getting some recognition. So hopefully we'll keep that going as well.
Thank you, Derek. We appreciate that. We're going to table the agenda until the next meeting, given the time of the hour. Unless anyone opposes that, doing that.
No, that's fine, Fred.
Yes, please, go ahead.
The only thing I want to do is to make sure that Brian got a better understanding of why the Democratic Black Caucus is opposing the weighted vote, because we've discussed that in the DEC, and he sent us all an explanation of the weighted vote. So I wanted Brian quickly, before we adjourn, to make sure he has a better understanding of why the DVC opposes that. Brian, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Trevor actually explained it perfectly to me. I understand now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I moved that we delay the rest of the items on the agenda to the next meeting.
A second on that motion? Get a second on the motion?
So moved, or second, excuse me.
It's moved a second that we delay the suspend the agenda to the next table the agenda to the next meeting, table it to the next meeting. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed are the same right. Motion passes. Thank you for your time and attention for the meeting. Again, thank you, Derek, for presenting that for us, as you always do. Those who came from other counties, other chat caucuses, we welcome you, appreciate your presence. Thank you for coming and enjoyed your comments. And until then, the next meeting, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Just real quick for those, if you have questions or wanted to listen back to anything any of the candidates said, this meeting was recorded and I will share it with those who have attended. So if you'd like to download and or keep reserve, you're more than welcome to do so.
How's that done, Derek? How's that done?
Thank you, Derek.
Call
no
you?
problem. How's what the recording?
Yes.
Zoom does it, and it's recorded in the cloud in the Zoom servers, and so I just share an email with the login details to view the recording.
Okay, I'll contact you about that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyone, any other comments for the good of the order? And thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to another productive next meeting in June. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.